Of Homer, Chip Markel. He goes by Chip Markel, a Democrat running for the 118th District in Southern Illinois, challenging Republican incumbent Paul Jacobs, joining me now on the live line. Hello, Chip.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm just fine. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I think part of me has melted in the last few days, but we'll get through it. It's called summer in the South.
I'm telling you, I've been outside working on our daughter's driveway this weekend and doing yard work and things on our camper, and you can't be outside for 5 minutes and be wringing wet.
Yeah, you got to drink water and keep cool somehow. I don't know, just wear an ice bucket on your head. All right, so I know that you've run for Senate before, but you've decided you want to go for the House this time and try to take out the incumbent. I was reading through everything, and I want to start with thank you for your service, because you had an honorable discharge from the Navy in '82, and my daddy was Navy, so I appreciate your service, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. All right. I know that you fight for veterans, and you feel like the incumbent, and we're not going to talk much about him because it's about you, but you feel like he's not representing the 118th the way that you would like to see it represented. Can you tell me why?
Yeah. First, I ran in 2022. I ran for Congress. I was running against Mike Boss, and unfortunately I didn't win. But that district is 34 counties. You know, my wife and I spent 8 months going throughout the district and put like 30,000 miles on our car. And that's something that I had to do. My career in the Department of Corrections kind of paralleled Mike Boss's career in the State House, and I thought I could do a better job than him, and that's why I decided to run against him. And now this district, 118th, is 5 counties, and I can do a better job than the incumbent. Throughout my career, I've always had the mindset that if I could do a job as well or better than somebody else, why would I let them do that? And that's what I want to do now. I want to work for this district. This district has so much to offer, and we have to have a voice at the table in Springfield when decisions are made about Southern Illinois. You know, they need to hear our Southern Illinois values in Springfield and in Chicago at the table in the legislature whenever decisions are being made.
Well, how do you differ from the Democrats who are making the decisions? Because I've read your bio and how you answered questions on where you stand on issues, and you seem pretty in line with the rest of the Democrats in that state.
No. I mean, there are some things that I agree with, and there are some things I don't. You know, like I said, I'm from Southern Illinois. I was born and raised in Southern Illinois. I have Southern Illinois values like everybody else does. When I joined the Democratic Party way back when, our values were working class and union.
That's changed.
Well, we need to get back to that. That's what we need to focus on, and that's what I'm focused on. I'm a Navy veteran. I worked in the Department of Corrections for 27 years. I was active in the union, and it's all about kitchen table issues, helping people, trying to make their lives better, make things easier for them.
Now, I did read a quote where Republicans who are in office in Illinois feel like they can't get anything done because of the supermajority of Democrats. And so you can't really blame a guy who's a Republican for not being able to push an agenda for the Republicans who elected him to a district for not getting anything done when he gets knocked down by the supermajority, which is the case whenever either party has a supermajority. It's not unique to Illinois. This happens in other states as well. But is your district that you're running for blue, or is it red?
No,
or is it purple?
It's Jackson County is a blue county, but the rest of them have mainly gone red the past few elections. You know, it's not about being in the minority or being in the majority.
Yes, it
When I
is. Yes, it is,
when I
sir.
no, and I'll explain.
Okay.
When I was in the Department of Corrections and I was union president, we had a problem with violence
Mm-hmm.
in the Department of Corrections. And I came up with an idea of Illinois needing a supermax prison. So I started that initiative, and I spearheaded that initiative for 2 years. I worked on that issue every day for 2 years, talking to the Democrats, talking to the Republicans, going to Springfield, going to Chicago, talking to whoever we needed to do to get that done. And we were able to convince Republican Governor Jim Edgar that this was something that needed to be done, and we were able to get it done. And that supermax prison ultimately went to the towns. And you just have to build bridges, work with people.
Exactly. Exactly. And you needed a supermax prison, but you had a Republican governor. You've got Pritzker now. Do you think he's doing a good job?
Yeah. I mean,
ouch.
No, look at the construction that they brought. There was.
What about the taxes? You guys can't even cover your pensions.
Yes, yeah, they can. When Bruce Rauner was the governor, we didn't have a budget for 2 years. The credit rating was horrible. Now there's been 6 credit upgrades. They paid off all the backlog debts. When I was in corrections, if we took a writ out, if we took an inmate somewhere and had to stop for gas stations wouldn't even take a state credit card because Illinois' credit was so bad. Now bills are being paid within a month. Your medical bills, people don't have to wait for to get their medical bills paid, so things are better. Now, on the idea of
I'm sorry. I know so much about your state that I know a lot of what you're. I truly believe you believe this, but you have a serious outward migration problem and a taxation problem, not just on property taxes, but taxes and just overall. Chip, it's horrible in Illinois.
Well, I'm glad you brought property taxes up because that's going to be one of our big issues.
Mm-hmm.
Our local property tax in Williamson County went up by over $1,000 last year.
Mm-hmm. That's across the state, though. Everybody's paying higher.
Right. Rumor has it that it's going to go up about another 17% this year.
Well, it's not a rumor. That's for sure.
Well, and looking into it, there in this district, there are residential TIF districts.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody develops a subdivision or whatever, that money goes to the contractor or the developer instead of the places that it's supposed to go to. Now, I'm not saying that we need to do away with residential TIF districts, but we need to administer them properly. Why should somebody who builds a house and builds a subdivision, when they go to get money back from local taxes, why should they get that money to reimburse themselves for what they put into it when they're going to get that money back when they either sell that property or they rent that property out? To me, that's double dipping. So we can look at that to correct things, and if we can make it. I just want to make things fair for everybody.
Yeah. And fair for everybody means meeting in the middle. But I want to run through some questions for you, and I only have about, we're going to say 4.5 minutes left. But you do agree with the overturning of Roe v. You do not agree with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I want to know why, because the power was sent back to the states, and Illinois is a pro-abortion state. So why do you disagree with it nationally when in your state you can still do it?
I just think it goes back to a person's rights. I think a woman has to use their health care.
It's not health care. Yeah. It's not health care when you kill a baby. I'm sorry. I will never agree with that.
Well, I'm just saying that
and I'm a girl. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a woman's choice to choose. That's what I don't. It's just like the person's choice to decide whether they want to own a gun or where they want to live.
Yeah, my gun can't die. A baby can. You agree with paying off student debt of other people. I didn't. I couldn't afford to go to college. My family was very poor. Now, I've finally etched out my life, and I'm supposed to pay off someone else's student debt? Why do you think that's a good idea?
Where did you get that I said that? I've never said that.
You said that to a KMOV when they said, do you support President Biden's student debt relief? You said yes.
No. What I said was everybody that I've talked to, all the college students I've talked to, said the problem is the interest that they have to pay on student debt.
They signed on the line. They signed on the line.
I think that's what we need to look at.
Okay. You thought the 2020 presidential election was fair. I won't argue with that on that. Do you support voter ID laws? You said no. Why do you not want people to prove who they are when they vote?
Where do you get that I said no on that? I don't have, I mean, when people
You might want to go to 2022 KMOV, all rights reserved, copywritten with your answers. That's where I got all my information. I did my homework.
When people go to register to vote, they have to show their identification.
Mm-hmm.
In Illinois, I mean, that's the way it's done. I've voted, I don't know for how long, and I have to sign my signature. They check everything before you when you register. You have to prove your identification. To me, there's nothing wrong with proving your identification.
Okay, they misquoted you. You might want to talk to them. Supporting the legalization of marijuana, yes. I don't really care one way or the other on that one. Does law enforcement need more funding? You said yes. I agree with you on that one. Do you support a path for young immigrants brought to the U.S. as children? You said yes. So, enforcing border laws, where do you stand on that?
They should be. We need to, if we want to solve immigration, we need to pass a immigration reform bill. There's been 2 immigration reform bills in the House and the Senate. In 2013, and then last year, 24, I believe it was. They were bipartisan, comprehensive immigration reform bills that would take care of most everything. And the Republicans twice have killed those bills. To me, why don't we? And I'm not saying that, the
You're
Democrats...
a sanctuary state, sir. You're a sanctuary state.
I'm not the one that's in charge of that.
Yeah, neither are you Republicans.
Well,
if you're in there, what would you say? Let's not be one?
Do what?
If you get the office, will you vote against that?
What I'm saying is that if we have a illegal immigrant who's arrested for violent crime, then they need to be held until they can be picked up.
And taken where?
Well, taken to go through the system, give them due process, go before a immigration reform court, and do it properly.
Okay. Well, the last question I have for you in the minute and a half that we have left is, where do you stand on the Second Amendment?
I'm a gunner. I'm living, like I said, I'm born and raised in Southern Illinois. I've grown up with guns. I have guns, so I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment.
Okay, good, because that's one of the most important ones to me of all.
It goes back to a person's rights.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not for infringing on somebody's Second Amendment rights.
Okay. What about AR-15s or magazines that hold more than 5 bullets?
Well, I have an AR-15, so
yeah, me too. Yeah. So, because if I get nervous and somebody comes in, I might miss the first 14 times. I mean,
yeah.
I might be freaking out. So, you want to be voted for as Illinois State Rep for the 118th. His name is Homer, but he goes by Chip Markel. And when is your election, sir?
The primary is March 17th of 2026, and the general election will be November 3rd of 2026.
And we're ahead of the game here because he wants people to know who he is, and I said I would gladly do that for him. So Chip Markel is running against incumbent Paul Jacobs in the 118th District of Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois, it's your job to choose who you want to send to Springfield to represent you. You did a good job, Chip.
Well, thank you. If you want me to come back, I'll be glad to come back and talk to you again.
You got to buy ads. I only give you one free one. I'll see you later.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah.
You too. Bye-bye.